Righto, so now we're going to check out the Bypass Flue Gas Sampler. So looking at the drawing, it is a little confusing, but I've drawn this already, and I've found that if this is 300, now it looks like 500, then things work out pretty good. These angles in here are a bit strange. They work out on the final drawing, but they're a bit misleading how they're drawn here. So the way I go about this one is I go new, sheet metal, and I'm just going to start by drawing all the planes and all the tops of the spigots, tops and bottoms of the spigots. So I'm going to go, first one, I'm going to do the circle at 600, like that. Then I will do a offset plane, and I'll just come over here and highlight the plane I just drew on, which is that one there. And the spigot is 400 high, so 400 there. And do a sketch on this one. And what I'm going to do is I could just project the geometry of that circle, but sometimes it plays up when it comes to lofting a flange that way. So I'm going to actually draw another circle, just so we have an actual physical sketch there. And another thing I'm going to do while I'm here is I'm going to go into instruction line. I'm going to draw a line, and I'm just going to draw from one center to the outside, and that'll help me a little bit later when I come to put some points on it. So we've got that the bottom spigot outline there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do another offset plane from this one, and this will be to the top of that little spigot there. So 700 minus 400 is 300. So let's go 300. And now I'll start a sketch on this one as well. And what I'm going to try and do is keep everything in the same axis. So I'm going to keep the seam towards the back of the piece, because it should be easier that way. So I'm going to now draw the top of that spigot. So it's 200 diameter, OD it says, so we'll go 200. And it also says it's 175 from the center. So we'll go 175. And it's not quite constrained yet, so I will just put a horizontal constraint in there, and hopefully it's the right one. No, it's not, so I'll go back, and I'll go vertical. See the views on its side, so now it's vertical to that line, so that'll keep it where we want it. I'll finish that sketch. Now I'm going to draw the top of the truncated cone part. So I'm going to go offset plane again. From this one, it's got a measurement of 500 there, so I'll go 500. And I will do a sketch on this plane here. And it's got a funny looking measurement like I mentioned before, but it works out, 300 works pretty good, so I'm going to 200 OD there, and I'll go out here to here, should be 300. So it looks different to the drawing, but it does work out later on. And I'm also going to constrain it along that same line. And another thing I'm going to do, which I forgot to do in the last one, so I'll have to come back, is I'm going to turn it onto construction line, and I'm going to draw a line from the center of that circle out to the edge, and I'll finish that sketch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back to this sketch and draw that line in, because I forgot last time. So construction line, highlight that, line center to this outside. There we go. Now, the last plane is 200 above that one, so the top of that spigot. So I'm going to do an offset plane from this one up 200. And I'm going to do a sketch on that one as well. And I could project that geometry, but I'm just going to do another circle just because it seems to work a bit better when you do that. So what I will do though is I will project the center of it, and I will do a circle from there at 200. Right, so we've got all these points here. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to save this as the overall drawing, or the whole drawing, we'll call it that. And now I'm going to start making the sheet metal parts. So the reason I'm doing it all in one drawing for a start is when we come to join it all together, we can just align everything to this origin point here. So we don't have to worry about awkward constraints and things. We can just pick up the XYZ 0 point and just do each part to that. So for the base, now what I've got to do, what I've got to do before I carry on is I'm just going to do one more thing, or a couple more things. I'm going to put the points in, so I can put a point where those lines end. I'll do another one, and I'll do another one there. Do the points, and I'll go into sheet metal defaults, untick use thickness from rule, and I'll type in 1mm instead, and apply that. So now I'll save it. So that's what I should have done before, but we got there in the end. Now what I can do is I can go lofted flange and pick up on these two surfaces here. And I want to go to a smoothed finish, a diform finish. And because this is OD, I want to change the direction so that the line goes inside. So there we go, we've got the spigot. There it is. Now what I should be able to do from this one is I should be able to go up to rip here, click on the face, and then click on that point, and type in 0.1 there. So 0.1, I just do that as a very small gap. And now I should be able to go create flat pattern, and that'll work it all out for me. So it'll be the right circumference and everything. Go back to folded part. Now I'm going to turn off all the things I don't want to see. So I'm just going to hold shift and go over everything. Take the visibility off. There you go. So now we've got the bottom spigot. And I will collapse that there, just tidy it up. So bottom spigot, there it is. So just try and make sure you don't save over that drawing, that whole drawing thing. So make sure you save it as the new part. So now I can close the bottom spigot. I can reopen the whole drawing here. And now I'll ignore that bottom bit because I've already got that as a different part. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to do the center part. So same thing as before, lofted flange. See, we go here to here instead. I want to do a smoothed finish, as they say, diformed there. And I want it to go to the inside, so inside like that. I'll go OK. So here's that bit there. So with some complicated shapes, when you go to do the rip, it can be a bit more difficult. So it may not work, but there are ways around it. So I will show you that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to rip, and I'll go to that surface, and I'll see if it's going to behave for me. And it does, so that's good. And once again, I'll change that to 0.1. And not to forget, what I got to do now is we've got to cut a hole for this top spigot. So I'm going to select cut, select that shape, and change this to all, and it's already going down, so that should cut a hole for it. So let's give it a go. There we go, we've got the hole for the little branch there. So same thing as before, I'm going to just turn off all the things I don't want to see. Just click on a bunch of them, holding shift, and just have a quick look there. Yeah, that looks alright. And what I'm going to do here is just go, same as before, create flat pattern. So now we've got the flat pattern there. So go to folded part again, and there we go. Now we've got the center transition. So I will save that as transition. Right, so I'll close that bit off. Open up the hole drawing again. And now I am going to do the top spigot, and then I'll do the tricky one last. So top spigot's easy. We just go here to here, diaformed again, change it to inside, so it's going inwards, and go OK. We go to rip, select that face and that point, and once again change that to 0.1. And same as before, grab all the stuff, turn off what you don't need. So we're only left with the spigot there. Make sure you go create flat pattern. It doesn't actually exist until you do that. So you have to go create flat pattern, then go to the folded part again. So now I'm going to make sure I save this as the top spigot. And there we go. Now we get to the tricky one. So I'll close out of that. I'll go back to this original drawing here. So what I'm going to do with this one is I am going to draw a second circle down on this plane here. So I'll start a sketch on this plane, and you can see it's gone in front of where I need to see. So I can just go right click and slice the graphics, and that'll get rid of anything in front of it. I'm going to draw the same circle. I'm going to draw a 200 diameter. I'm going to draw it one dimension at 175 from the center. And I'm going to make sure it's constrained properly. And there we go. So now there's another trick to this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tidy this up a wee bit because it's a bit busy for me. So I'm going to get rid of things I don't need. So I don't need to be seeing that sketch. I don't need to see the very top part because I'm not using that for this drawing. Work points. See, the point free is the only one I want. It's the only one that's touching it. So I'll turn that one off. I'll turn that one off. Just tidy it up as much as you can, really, just to make it a bit easier for yourself. So I'll keep the things I need on here. So now what I want to do is I'm going to draw like a side profile of this thing. So I'm going to start a sketch and I'm going to open up the origin planes, the one that crosses across the center like this. And I'm going to go to project geometry and I'm going to project the ends of these circles. Sometimes you have to go around and just select the thing there and go back to straight on view again. And now I'm going to go draw a line there to there. And I'm going to draw a line from the other end of the circle there to there. And I am going to extend these points out. So I'm going to draw a random line up here and just hit extend. So it should go as far. So I just need to move that line a bit closer. Right, so extend's not really working for me, to be fair. So what I can do is just draw a line up and draw a line back down again. And down the bottom, I'm going to draw something along the lines of this to this. So what I'm going to do then is make these lines parallel. That one parallel to that one parallel to that, and this one parallel to that one. And I will just check what's going on here. Why is it not happy? I don't really know, but that's fine. So what I should be able to do from here is find a center line. So if I go grab this line here and go center to center, and we'll use that. So we'll say that's all right. We'll finish that sketch. So now we've got the side view. We've got like a triangle drawn in there. So now what I can do with that is I can do a lofted flange from there to there. And diformed again, make sure it's going internally like that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the 3D modeling space and I'm going to revolve that triangle about this axis. And we're going to do it in a cutting motion. So excuse me there, I need to go back. See how that revolution wasn't quite where you wanted it, so I just need to edit the sketch a little bit. And I need to have the same length of line here. So this is my bad, having to go back a wee bit, but that's alright. I need to have this length the same as that length. So I'll dimension this from point to point and hover close to it. So 1172.777 whatever. And I'll dimension this there to there and just click off to the side here. Now what I can do here is I can go equals and I can click on the other one and go enter. So now it'll be even. So now what I can do is draw a line across here from there to there. And I'll delete that old line because that was a mistake where I put that. And now I'll draw a center line through this. So I'll do it from the point to the middle of the bottom there, which it's just snapped to. There we go. So this will be better this time. So now I'm going to go revolve, get that triangle there, and the axis, I'm going to select the middle, and put it onto cut. So now you can see the cone follows the shape of the transition there. So now we'll cut all that off. Now we're left with the spigot, and I'll turn a few things off here to make it a bit easier to see. Turn off this work plane, turn off this work plane, this one here as well, and whatever else I don't need. So that's there, that there. Now I should be able to rip this. So we'll go to sheet metal again, and we'll go rip. So surface, point, see it's coming up there. Now I can go 0.1 again, and create a flat pattern for that bit. So there we go, flat pattern coming out alright. So now I'm going to collapse this stuff here and just go File, Save As, Side Spigot. Yes. So, also I'll turn this work point off because I don't need it anymore. And quickly save again. So now we've got all the individual parts drawn up. All I need to do is assemble it all for a drawing that I can dimension. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to go New Standard Millimeter IAM. So that's the assembly file. I'm going to turn on these planes. And I am going to go up to place, and I'll go find the file I'm using. And it doesn't matter where I start really, but I'm going to go to bottom spigot and just drop it in there. And the other thing I'm going to do to make life a bit easier is go View, go Shaded with Edges. Now you can see it hasn't dropped into any particular place, so I'm going to just expand on this and expand on the origin. And I am going to go to Assemble and Constrain. Now I can do YZ plane to YZ plane, but I'm going to go flush, so they're all flush. So that was on flush there. XZ plane to XZ plane, flush again. XY plane to XY plane, and there we go, flush. So now we're all constrained to the origin of the assembly. So now it's just a matter of bringing every other bit in and doing the same again. So I'll go to place, and I will get the transition, and I'll just chuck it in there and press escape. Now I'll go to the transition, span the folded model and the origin, and I'll go constrain YZ to YZ, make sure it's on flush, apply XZ to XZ, make sure it's on flush again, apply XY to XY again. There we go, so that's that one on there. So now I can collapse that. Now I can bring in, say, the side spigot. So I'll bring that in, chuck it anywhere, and do the same thing again. Expand it so you see the origins, constrain, YZ, YZ, make sure it's on flush, XZ, XZ, same, XY, XY, same. And last but not least, we're going to place the top spigot here. I'll dump it in a random position over there. And same thing again. Expand all this out and constrain. So YZ, YZ, make sure you're in flush. Apply, apply, apply. So you can see from drawing all from that one original drawing, it was really easy to put this together. So something to keep in mind. So I'll turn the visibility of these planes off now. Now we have an assembly of the duct, and that's what it looks like. Now since we've done it properly, all with flat patterns, I can double click on this and open up each part, and I can go to the flat pattern from there. So there you go. So now you can bring that in and dimension it, and you can also bring in all the individual flat patterns as well. We'll go through the paper space at another time.